that if you find a stream, you're lost, you find a stream, follow it downstream. It will probably go into a larger one, and then into a larger one, and eventually into a river, and I guess you'll finally go to the ocean. But if you follow it downstream, you're going to find some kind of civilization if you last that long, basically based on your endurance, your will, and what food you get, that type of thing, how long you can go. But somewhere along there, you're going to find some kind of civilization, a cabin. Maybe you're going to find somebody that's looking for you. Maybe you come across a guy fishing, whatever. But you're going to find somebody or something. And I believe that. And I got up and I tied those sneakers in a little knot, threw them over my shoulders, and I started out. And the stream I was following was a little tiny. It was about half the size of this pathway here, and very hard to follow because I had to crawl through brush or try to work my way through this brush, and eventually it came out, to a bigger stream. Two things happened. One, during my crawling and getting through that brush, those sneakers got ripped off, and I never saw them again, and they were not really very good anyway to wear. So for the next 8 days, I walked on bare feet, and I wouldn't recommend it. The other thing was the worst thing that happened to me the whole time, the whole experience. And what was it? Anybody know what that was? Huh? The bugs. There's a man who knows the woods. What you have in Maine, every known biting bug known to man. You really do. I think the word got out that, hey, come on down here to this little stream. There's a smorgasbord called Fendler. But, I mean, to me, they were bad. The black flies in particular, they would come in swarms. And they would bite and all this, and my face would swell a little bit, my eyes would swell up, and not too, I could see okay. Mosquitoes, they were great blood-sucking ones. When I came out, I was kind of covered in blood, dry blood and everything, mosquitoes. Moose flies or deer flies, whatever you call them, they bite. The ones that really bite, they really bite. It got so bad, they drove me in the water, clothes and all. I tried to get my jacket off later when I went in, when I would go in. But anyway, it drove me in. Now, the first time I went into a stream, it wasn't very wide, wasn't very deep, but it had a lot of white water. And I didn't know what white water was really. I couldn't determine how fast the water was going and all that. So I stepped in and I slipped on a rock and down I went and got bounced around pretty good and got back out. So from then on, I learned a lesson that if I had to go back in again, I would pick a place where there was a pool. And a lot of those streams, as you know, got great pools. And by the way, you brookie fishermen, they were sometimes looked like 14 to 15-inch trout in those streams, And I mean, I'd go in the pool. I guess if I got down, I'd get eye to eye one of them. And I'd sink down as far as I could. As I said, it was kind of hard because I was still in clothes. I mean, what I had. Which I'll explain in a minute. The only problem was, and then I'd dig the bugs out of my eyes and my nose and my ears, but I had to get out. The water was so cold, I had to get out. And when I did, here they were waiting for you, and they would begin over. I don't think there was a centimeter on my body when I came out that wasn't bitten at least 3 times. So that was the worst thing. Now, generally, at school, I give the kids a break, and I don't know if there's anybody here who wants to take a break, but it doesn't bother me if you walk out, come back, it's okay. What I'm going to do now is I'm not going to talk about walking day by day. I'm going to go like category. It saves a lot of questions, and I'm going to talk about clothing, injuries, food, animals, that type of thing, okay? The first thing would be clothing. When I started out, I had a pair of sneakers, old beat-up sneakers, no socks. I had dungarees. I had a shirt, and over that shirt I had a sweatshirt and a jacket called a reefer. Okay, the first thing to go were my sneakers. The second thing to go were my jeans. In those days, when our jeans got wet and then they dried, to me they got stiff and they were kind of scratchy. So I took mine off because it was uncomfortable walking. Gee, I used to have 4 of them at that age, big. Boy, I tell you what, nobody wanted me in any talks. Anyway, the next thing to go on the jeans, like I said, and in the pocket of one of them, I had a rock that I picked up as a souvenir from my mother up on the table there. And of course, I lost the jeans, but it took me 19 years later, I did get a rock up there and I did bring it back to her. And anyway, I'm walking along the side of the stream and it was very difficult. And I looked on the other side and it looked like it was easy to walk. Now this was a fairly wide stream. The water looked like it was pretty deep, fairly deep compared to the other streams. A lot of white water. I mean, there were a lot of rocks and boulders in it, and the water was really moving. And down about, I don't know, just a short ways, was like a little waterfall. It had rocks and boulders, and the water would drop down a foot or two, and it was kind of swirly and all that. And so anyway, I had the bright idea, I'll throw my pants across, and it'll make it easy for me to jump from boulder to boulder to get on the other side. Good thinking. And I took my pants and threw them, and of course they went and they didn't make it. They hit a boulder and slid down, and they were gone. Now, I didn't want to jump in after them because I'd experienced that. That didn't look too inviting. And I got on the other side, and to make a long story short, I never did find it. I looked and looked, and I just never found it. Of course, that gave the bugs a lot more areas to bite, feast on, and scratches which occurred. The next thing to go were my underwear. Walking, I'm crawling through brush, ripped them up pretty much. I had not boxer shorts, or jockey shorts on, and they got ripped up pretty bad, and that was it. So when I came out of the woods, all I had was a shirt, a jacket, and a gunny sack, which I found, I'll mention later. Okay, the next thing would be food. Now, I never had a great appetite. Really not a great appetite. And I was small, and I didn't, and I was a picky eater. My mother hated me. My wife hated me. Because I don't want that. And when she feed me, prepare a great dinner, I kind of pick at it, But anyway, I never got so hungry I was screaming for food. I got hungry, but not stuff like you read, in books, where people do anything to eat, bark a tree, take their shoe off and chew it, I guess, or whatever. The only thing I found were about a half a cupful of wild strawberries, which are, as you know, are not very big, and they're not that tasty, but they did have some substance to it. That's all I had. I did find another berry, and I found some mushrooms, and I have been warned about mushrooms, about whatnot. You better know what they are. You better know what they are, and the same as a berry. I didn't know what this berry was. Don't eat it if you don't know. It turned out to be a chokeberry, they called it. I don't know. I've never seen another chokeberry. So that's all I had. Water, which you need. You can go a long time without food, guys, but you can't go without water. You all know that. And I had plenty of good, clear water. It was a great weight-reducing program. I lost about 16 pounds, which I could not afford to lose. I think I weighed about 80 pounds, something like that, when I started out. I think I came out right home, they told me about 58 when they weighed me at Mrs. Bowen's cabin. So I was pretty much of a mess.